I guess I'm choosing violence today.
Traptendo.
What is going on, people? It's DJ Av here, and we're going to talk about Nexus 4 by REFX. It's a plugin that's been around since 2006. It was the plugin that replaced Hypersonic 2, if you remember when Steinberg was on top of things in the VST world. If it wasn't for Steinberg, it wouldn't be a VST world altogether. But yeah, it was a very popular synthesizer. DAWs were becoming more prominent in music production, and the big old keyboards of yesteryear were fading away because of price point. And now here we are in 2021, and Nexus 4 sounds nothing different than Nexus 1. I'm just saying. But the UI is different, at least. But I definitely want to hear from you guys in the comment section. Just let me know how you feel, and I'm about to take you on this journey of this review, and I'll weigh in with my hot takes, per usual. And I know you're going to enjoy this. I know you are. So this first track is a hip-hop based track, so what I'm going to do is just play it. It has nothing but Nexus all the way through it except for the drums, so let's go ahead and hear it. And, I thought it was a pretty decent beat, just going, impromptu yesterday on my live stream. So I do recommend checking out my live streams. I try to keep them formatted. But, yeah, I even had at one time at least, I had this right here where it was the Pidgeot sound. And I thought it was interesting to the progression. But one thing I did notice was a lot of the sounds were based like 2006 basically, and that's a good thing. I mean, the quality of the sounds, I'm not arguing against. What I'm arguing against is the sheer amount of sounds that are dedicated to everybody just fresh out the box if you don't buy any expansions, and we'll get more into that later. Second beat, made it in Ableton Live. This is more or less like New Jungle, so let's hear it. All right, so now that you heard the track, definitely my favorite out of the two. But the one thing that I noticed off top is just the sound selection is very thin. And when I say thin, I mean it like thin in choices. And you would think when looking at this UI, you have 3.8K. But I find it very difficult to find sounds that would be palatable or passable for something that you would use in 2021. Again, a lot of these patches existed since 2006, and nothing really has uplifted from there. But let's go ahead and go through some of the patches and hear them so you can make a judgment for yourself. Like even the people are gonna say that I'm just hating on this or whatever, but for the most part, the piano patches that used to be so great in Nexus sound dated. How does a piano sound dated? Well, it's a piano, which is like one of the oldest instruments in the world. Okay, you got me there. Do these sounds motivate you to spend $300? They do, of course. So I don't want to waste much time here because there's not much to really talk about, but I'll start on this patch right here. Now, the main thing I wanted to show you is their new system that they have. Now, one thing that they did upgrade that I think was pretty awesome was the arpeggio. So you can do it per layer now, considering that you relayer stuff because you don't have access to any of the waveforms outside of if you use it in another synthesizer, of course, which probably what I'm gonna do. But yeah, you can see you can draw in stuff. This is something that's been around for Nexus for a while, but what hasn't been around on Nexus is this right here, if I can find it. And that's where I go into this part where you can bring in sequences. So you can draw out stuff. You have a piano roll, and the piano roll feels for the most part decent because you can move stuff left and right, and it'll be on grid, of course. I didn't see anything about unquantizing, if that's one of your things, but you can kind of build a chord out of something really easy if that's what you desire. So, but yeah, for the most part, you can just draw out stuff, and then you can have your individual sequence per that layer on that patch. Now, the reason why I've been so adamant, well, let me walk it back. And you do have presets that you can set in here if you want to try out things. You know, they kind of spell out easy for you, you know what I mean? And yeah, you can just go with the flow as far as anything goes there. And you have your transgate, you know, just for gating. And these are all features that's been around for a while, just retweaked and some decent modulation. And also you have some pretty decent effects too. I mean, if I go down the effects line, you can just add an insert and then you can add more effects, and you got a pretty decent line of stuff. You got degrader, which is a sign of lo-fi. And you also have layers too. And this is where I complain about. One of the things that I don't get about REFX as a company, and I do get it, you guys want money, you're not able to pick out waveforms individually. And they give you waveforms right here, but none of them correspond in the fashion that you would want them. So that is like misleading to anybody that's a sound designer, because I'm pretty sure a lot of sound designers outside of the ones that are with REFX would like to do stuff. I mean, I would. I'm on the website now, and it's quite clear that, you know, they want a pretty decent price for each and every individual patch that they have. And this is the Black Friday sale, so the price might go up. So you have every bank that you want there, and you have your choices of all the other stuff. I had a good laugh about them having Lo-Fi Girl on one of them, because that's quite a cash grab there. I mean, that's super pandering, but that's what you do when you're a company, is you want the best sounds that everybody wants. And by no means am I picking on REFX with Nexus 4, but the juice isn't worth the squeeze in 2021. It's not 2006 anymore. Quality has changed. Oh, let's talk about their competitors. So what compares to that in terms of quality? Well, it's pretty easy. You got a Xpand 2 for like 20 bucks. Oh, you think I'm capped? Oh, well, look, 2,500 plus total presets, and you get editability. You can change things up the way you want it. You can pick out different waveforms. It's $19. And here is output, but I want to go to something called Output Arcade, which is right here. and you get a free 30-day trial. I think you pay $100 a year. Now, granted, after paying 2 years worth of subscriptions, you're halfway there, but the sounds are pretty modern, and it's a myriad of great sound designers on there. And then I think this is the most comparable right here, and that's Native Instruments. And they, you have Kontakt Player for free. Kontakt Player is free, but Kontakt itself is about $99 right now. This is their sale. And I kid you not, if I clicked on something, and if you're trying to get case-specific sounds, well, you got that $24.50. Jesus, what a deal. I would even argue that Spectrasonic's Omnisphere is better at doing everything, and it costs more, but the amount of content that you get is well worth it, though I don't like the fact that it takes up like 50 gigs of hard drive space. That's my only issue with them. But yeah, price point wise, you get a whole bunch, and yeah, it's a nice palette of sounds created by Eric Pearson and friends. Then you have Vital, which I think is phenomenal. It's free. It's a synthesizer, fully editable, and you can take the same one-shots in REFX in the folder and make something of it. And yeah, it's flexible. Last but not least, we have UVI, and UVI has a whole bunch of stuff going on over here. Now, I will say this, and for argument's sake of price, yeah, something like Toy Suite is not cheap. Ooh, it's actually cheaper than it was. Well, but you get case-specific sounds at a higher quality, and I always argue that UVI is probably the best sound design team out, but it is what it is. We'll talk more about that a little later. So, tell me how you feel about this video. I definitely want to hear from you guys in the comment section. Nexus 4. Well, for the most part, when I weigh in with my pros and cons, it's going to be all honesty. I mean, just keeping it real. Nexus 3 just came out not too long ago. It came out at the tail end of 2019, and then yeah, everybody got it, or most of us got it. You know how everybody else probably got it if they didn't do a review on it immediately. But Nexus 3 made its wave, and yeah, at that particular time, I wasn't really thrilled about it. There wasn't much extra. It wasn't editable, fully editable, and you couldn't just make your own sounds or whatnot. That's the way I want to explain it. But the sounds were pretty decent. As far as the pros go, I like the fact that they made different layers and different ways that you can arpeggiate your sounds, including a full-on sequencer, which the piano roll feels really good. I like that the librarian has seen a whole bunch of improvements in terms of finding tag stuff, favoriting tag stuff, and all that, which, it's very good for a library or collection of sounds to have a sufficient or efficient enough search engine. The cons are as follows. The sounds aren't very motivational. Just to have about 10% of 3,000 plus presets not be satisfactory is just unforgiving for me, especially when you can go a different route with any other rompler synth and you'll be able to edit all the way through. Like, you'll be able to change the waveforms, you'll be able to switch the layers, and that just comes down to REFX as a company not wanting sound designers to make third-party kits anymore out of their plugin, their prestige plugin, because it takes money out of their pockets. And do I give this the stamp of approval? Yeah, it's decent if you're into selecting presets and stuff like that. Cool. But I'm definitely going to give it about a 50%. It's failing. It failed. It failed me. So what?